don't try to please men. You'll wind up pleasing no one. Please Jehovah, and you'll please those who love Jehovah. Oh, my word.
Good morning, everyone. On this beautiful Saturday morning, Mike is at his mountain man camp, and so I get all the coffee. So it's a very good morning. Oh my goodness, where to begin? So we have a leaked video from a Gilead classroom, and I want to thank Warwick Pimo. This is a new channel. I'm not too familiar with them, and so I'm going to put the link down below to this video so you can watch it in its entirety. It's called Miss Uncle Tony, and the channel is Warwick Pimo, and they have this video, and I want to thank everybody who sent me the link to this, because it's like, oh my goodness, holy crap. And if he had a habit of saying stuff like this to Gilead classes and stuff like that, is this why he was removed? Or is he drunk again? I mean, we may never know. But, I mean, I wish every single Jehovah's Witness could watch this. But I've got a lot to cover here about some different things with Anthony Morris, so stay tuned. And as you've seen in that first clip, you know, this is showing that this was from a Gilead classroom, and Anthony Morris is just rambling on as usual. But I just want to show a few clips from this, and like I said, I'll put the link down below to this video, and go watch it and share it, because my goodness, some of the things he says. In fact, the first clip I want to show is he's talking about Gilead and missionary homes and stuff like that. So listen to what he says.
But for you to make that kind of progress, you have to be able to take correction. This is not easy for most people. You know, it doesn't happen a lot, but enough to where I'm telling you it happens. Does it happen with Gilead graduates? Yeah. When we had the other missionary home arrangement, oh my word. And Brother Hurd and I were like, you gotta be kidding. And I understood the money thing way back, but Jehovah took care of that. And Jeff Jackson came on service committee, and he'd been missionary in Spain. So I talked to him, had them investigate, asked them to investigate some things, because I coordinate service committee, and they were so willing. Good men, beautiful men. Anyway, you take, for example, Jeff said something about those homes. It's the only setup that was democratic in this organization. The way the missionary home functioned. No wonder we had problems. We're not a democracy. We're a theocracy. You know? So those that are in the field, you thank God. Now, there have been some good success stories. Not a lot of them. You put humans together like that, it's these different heads, I tell you what. Doing zone visits, I said, this has got to change. One after the other needing an appointment. Matthew 5:23 and 24. Apparently it wasn't in their Bibles. I don't know if they ripped the page out. Somebody ripped it out of their Bible because they were not applying it. It was very, you know, so we try to love them and help them, but we supplicated over that, and that all ended. And it's pretty well over, and it had its day, but Brother Glass, I heard him give a talk in 1971, and he was an outstanding Gilead instructor. And I heard him in Florida say, you know, the number one problem we have in missionary homes is getting along with one another. So I'm on service committee years later. Number one problem we're having in the missionary homes is them getting along with one another. Nothing had changed.
And I mean, this is really negative. he trying to use it as an object lesson? I don't know. I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine. I mean, who can guess what Anthony Morse is thinking? I mean, most of the time, many of us were trying to guess what he was even saying, right? So, anyway, here's another clip.
A friend of mine came with her to work in the service department for years. Fred Franz had just given a talk. I wanted to know about it. I knew he'd given it. Well, this Gilead couple are staying overnight with this couple because they invite us over, and my good friend that's there. So I started to ask him about Brother Francis' talk, and I love Fred Francis' talks, and he was deep. I wanted to hear what he had to say. And this sister wouldn't shut up. All about what she's learning at Gilead. She just would not shut up. I know she was excited, but it's like, excuse me? It wasn't my house, and the host does not say anything. I said, excuse me, I'm glad you're enjoying Gilead. It's exciting, but could you let him finish? Because I asked him about Fred Francis' talk, and it's starting to get later. I do want to hear it before I leave. Do you mind? Oh, So she didn't have her observation powers on. She had her mouth on. See? So I don't know whatever happened with that girl, but God help her. Somehow or another, she must have learned something some way. It's sad.
Very unkind. Oh my goodness. Wouldn't shut up. Aunt Mo, you won't shut up. I mean, he just rambles on, and it's like, good Lord. Very demeaning to that woman. And then he calls her a girl. And it's very demeaning to call grown women girls. Very condescending. So, and he's supposed to be a governing body member at this time. Teaching a Gilead class. What is he teaching them? What the whole organization does. Misogynistic jerks that are very demeaning to women and children. I have another clip.
But, you know, for me personally, I think this is a gem, because in the schooling I had before being one of Jehovah's people, I could count on one hand the good teachers I had. Very few. They were all about rote, memory, and they stunk. And I was so bored with most of them, and I'm like, give me a break, And not a pleasant student to have when I think you're an idiot. And I'm not saying I was appropriate. I was a worldly guy, and I didn't like being bored. And one teacher says, what's your problem? I says, you're boring. You're cruel, too.
Oh, ha 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 ha, you're cruel too. Yeah, the entire governing body is cruel. Look at what they do about the shunning, enforce the shunning, and they have destroyed so many families. And I can say that because they've destroyed our family. Our moms haven't talked to us in 12 years. That's very damaging and cruel. But this is how they are. And for him to talk about a teacher being cruel, he probably needed that slap in the face. Obviously, he didn't learn anything. So, I have another clip here.
But with Jehovah God, the education. See, any of your instructors boring you here at school? I don't think so. Sisters, and I've learned a lot from the sisters, by the way, anointed sisters now in heaven, as well as our sisters in Scripture. You can learn a lot from women. And don't forget, a large chunk of the resurrected anointed were women at one time. So I always tease the sisters, you're not going to be able to say, you don't understand. Because those resurrected kings are going to say, oh, yes, we do, honey. And you better do what you've just been told to do. See how wise Jehovah is?
You know what I find interesting? That if this is how the governing body and Atmo feels about the sisters, why aren't there any women elders? Why aren't there any women Gilead teachers? Right? If they value the sisters and that they are anointed ones, and he says he learns a lot from even the anointed ones in heaven. How? Is he channeling them? So, I mean, my goodness, it's difficult to unpack everything that this man says. And, I mean, they're such hypocrites. Because like I said, if they've learned so much from sisters, and they don't realize that their organization would do so much better if they accepted women and their thoughts and things that they could give this organization. You know what? They might give this organization some empathy and make them a kinder, gentler organization to where they weren't so cruel and would take care of the kids and protect the kids. So, I mean, like I said, I recommend you go watch the entire video. Okay, so I got a few other things here to cover. Now, first I want to mention, thank you Atlantis for the Elders letter this morning. August 4th, 2023 announcement for Elders. Updated Enjoy Life Forever book. The Enjoy Life Forever book has been updated. Well, we all know that because they had to remove Aunt Mo's picture. And I'll show those here in just a minute. Elders should assist all in the congregation to use the most recent version. The updated publication should read July 2023 printing on the publisher's page. Publishers may download the updated publication from JW.rg or tap the refresh icon in the JW Library app. Updating the publication in JW Library will not affect any highlighting or notes. And they're reading this to the congregation also. Well, like I said, the reason they have to do this is because of Aunt Mo had to be removed. And as you can see, here's the difference. Okay? Here's what the old picture looked like. And here's what the new picture looks like. And then there's a smaller picture on this same page. And here's the difference between those two. So you see why the Enjoy Life Forever book had to be updated. Because they have to erase Anthony Morris as a governing body member out of everything. And we've been seeing evidence of this now for a while. Now, something else I want to cover here. Now, I went into the North Carolina county deed website, and I am not going to give out Anthony Morris's home address because if something happened to him, if someone, you know, with a mental health issue harmed him, I would feel really bad because I don't want to be responsible for that. So I am not going to give out his home address. But I do want to talk about that because in this deed, there is a page that looks like this. And I'm going to read this. Now we know Anthony Morris and his wife and the Religious Order of Jehovah's Witnesses are the grantees. Okay? Witnessed that for a valuable consideration paid by the grantee, the receipt of which is hereby acknowledged, the grantor has, and by these presents does grant, bargain, sell, and convey unto grantees in fee simple as follows. Unto Anthony Morris III and his wife Susan Morris, life estates to run consecutively for as long as either Anthony Morris III or Susan Morris live on the property described below as their principal residence. And we know this is the house that the Religious Order of Jehovah's Witnesses just bought in North Carolina. Unto Religious Order Jehovah's Witnesses, a not-for-profit corporation organized in New York, the remainder. But if Anthony Morris III or Susan Morris moves from the property and maintains a principal residence at another property, then his or her life estate shall automatically terminate. And when both life estates have so terminated, in other words, they die, Religious Order Jehovah's Witnesses shall own the property in fee simple. The term principal residence as used herein shall mean the location occupied by an individual described above as his or her permanent home, which address is one used for legal purposes such as obtaining a driver's license or filing income tax returns, and where the individual spends at least the majority of the calendar year, and when the individual is away from such address, it is the address to which he or she intends to return. And there's more, but it's a lot of legalese. Now, I know many have questioned, are they getting a pension? Now, some have speculated that Anthony Morris has a trust from his family for some investments and stuff they have. I know he has a trust from his mother. But the reason I bring this up is I want to read something. And this is a 1958 watchtower. And I want to thank Larchwood for posting this on Twitter. It is the May 15th, 1958, questions from readers. And they're talking about Numbers 8, 25, and 26, about the house of worship and how after the age of 50 years, he will retire from the service company and serve no longer. And he must minister to his brothers in the tent of meeting and taking care of the obligation, but he must render no service. And this was talking about the Levites and the Mosaic Law. So when you read through this, and I just want to focus on the last paragraph, about a third of the way down. By virtue of their dedication to Jehovah God to do His will forever, Jehovah's Witnesses today are under obligation to continue in the fulfillment of their commission to preach the good news of God's kingdom until the witness work is finished. There is no scriptural precedent for retiring. Would that include governing body members? See, many of us feel, in our humble opinion, that he was removed, because governing body members serve until they either die or they've done something bad to be removed. Okay? It's only what we've gone by in the past. Okay? There's no scriptural precedent for retiring them from service, even after they have served for 50 years, and then putting them on a pension. If old age or advancing years incapacitate a dedicated Christian for a particular kind of responsibility, then he may be shifted to another form of service that he can perform. The obligations that his dedication to God imposes upon him do not allow for him to be relieved of all service responsibilities and privileges and to be retired thereafter to live at ease on a pension, to become a sheer financial burden upon a congregation or upon the organization that supervises the New World Society of Jehovah's Witnesses. That last part is the pertinent part, because they move him to this house they've bought him, and I'm sure with an allowance or pension. So, according to this magazine, they're really not supposed to be doing that. So, that was a great find. Thank you, Larchwood, very much. Appreciate it. Now, I want to mention Jehovah's Witness letters are already coming in, and the campaign isn't until September. I was talking to our mailman when we got this, and he was complaining about these people in Mountain Air, these Jehovah's Witnesses, and just saying some of the things that he has heard. Apparently they're not the nicest people to deal with, and they've pissed off the post office because they bring in hundreds of letters and sending them out to everybody. And I asked him, I says, how are they even getting people's addresses? And he didn't know, But I told him, I says, well, I wonder if it is the local body of elders, because they would have to go over to Berlin to the Kingdom Hall there. Are they getting these addresses? You know, how are they getting these? Because they don't send out phone books anymore. Makes you wonder. Oh, hot coffee. So, this is the letter he sent me. And yes, I did respond. Good morning, Mr. Mrs. Brooks. How is your day going? I hope all is well with you and your family. I'm writing to you and others in our community about a concern many people have. It's the conditions we live in. Today we live in very bad times. I'm sorry, it's really hard to keep a straight face because I know this propaganda. We all know this propaganda. We could write a letter like this. Today we live in very bad times. 2 Timothy 3:1. The level of suffering experienced today leave many wondering why these things are this way. Yeah, what about the suffering that all the ex-members are going through because they can't get any justice because they're abuse survivors? What about our families being destroyed because of the shunning policy? Have you ever wondered why? Well, I know that. Why? Do you think our suffering is punishment from God, as some may feel? Take note the Bible's answer at James 1:13. When under trial, let no one say, I am being tried by God. For with evil things God cannot be tried, nor does he himself try anyone. Well, Mike's done videos reading scriptures from the Old Testament that God has tried people in the past, and he has brought suffering, and he's killed many. I digress. Our Heavenly Father loves us and would never bring harm to us. But this organization does, doesn't it? So why do we suffer? Is there a solution? If you would like to know the Bible's answers, you can contact me at the above address. You can also visit our website free, and he's misspelled website, at JW.rg, which is available in over 1,000 languages. Go to Bible Teaching, Bible Questions Answered, Suffering. No personal information needed to log in. Have a nice day. Sincerely, Daryl. And I'm not going to mention his last name. And this wonderful little tract came with this. Will suffering ever end? Oh my goodness. So, would you all like to hear the nice letter I wrote back? Okay, now I printed up the latest Pennsylvania article about 5 more arrested in Pennsylvania for the CSA, Jehovah's Witnesses, and how 14 have been charged. And so I printed up that article and I stuck it in with this letter. Good morning, Mr. Blank. We're doing great. I hope you will read my entire letter. I was baptized as a JW in 1979. I have been a JW for 49 years. Have you ever wondered why Watchtower hasn't told you about the child abuse lawsuits your donations are paying for? Have you ever wondered why your governing body has never told you about the Pennsylvania grand jury investigation into Watchtower? Have you ever wondered why your governing body doesn't want you investigating Watchtower's history? Have you ever wondered why your governing body member Anthony Morris was removed, then quietly erased from JW.org? Have you ever wondered why Watchtower tells you that Jesus is only the mediator for the 144,000? And then I give the Watchtower reference, 1989. I hope and pray that you will open your mind and heart about the truth about the truth. You can anonymously learn about Watchtower's history on our YouTube channel. Check out our channel. I gave the link. We're here to help. Kim Brooks. KimmyMBrooks@gmail.com. So, you know, I don't want to be hateful because I do want them to... It would be nice if they would think about things. And it would be nice if they would check out our channel. And for him to be sending out all of these hundreds of letters in our area, it's not going to be very productive because this small little valley we live in is very much Catholic. I mean, every little tiny village has a Catholic church. So it is very much a Catholic area. I also want to mention, thank you Jonas of Goat-Like Personality for letting me know about this, and I'll put the link down below to his video. There's going to be some protests, some nice peaceful protests in London, August 19th and 20th, and August 25th and 26th. And so like I said, I will put the link down below to his video for details for those who are in the UK and may want to help them out. So that is all I have for right now. Thank you for watching, and thank you for all the wonderful comments. We have the best YouTube video viewers ever. I mean, some of your comments, we appreciate the love and support, and all of the information coming in. I have some more convention information coming in, and so I appreciate it. So you all have a wonderful weekend. Bye.